you could say you could use a loop to cycle through an array. Int I equals 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus, because we have 5 elements in our array here. We used a for loop with 5 elements to cycle through our array, and we can see out array an index I contains the value, and oops, now we can just see out days I. So what I'm doing here is I'm saying that array index, the number of the array, contains the value, and the value that we specify, the values that we specified are here and in our boxes. So oh, I have to close the for loop once again, my error, sorry. And so I close the for loop, and now, oops, let's see, let's put a endel at the end of each line because we want to organize our data. So array index 0, and after this I should put another space so that I'll just what's it called, it will be easier. Okay, so now I think I got it done. And okay, array index 0 contains the value 5, 1 contains 12, 34, let's compare 5, right, 0, 5, 12 is in 12, 2 it has 24, 34, sorry, 3 has 64, 4 has 23, correct? Correct. Now, let's say you wanted to initialize an array to nothing. You wanted just zeros, plain zeros, plain and boring. Yeah, right. Okay, so I could omit this parameter and at all, and now my array of 5 elements is going to be initialized with a blank list. So every element, because I specified days, it's gonna, like, I'm specified integer, so it's gonna all initialize to 0. Want to check it out? Of course, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Now, what if I didn't initialize it at all? What if I didn't do that at all? Now it has some random stuff in there because I have to put a value in there, otherwise it takes the value that was in there before, and we have no control over that. So I'm gonna put this initializing statement. Also, you could put 0 in here, which initializes all of them to 0, or you could put a 5 in there, which initializes only the first one, or you could put 0, 0, 0, 0, or you could put actually 5, 6, for example, and that will initialize the first 2 elements respectively, so 5 and 6. So you don't have to put the whole list, you can put a couple. And I heard not a long time ago that you can actually initialize this array, and so that doesn't work very well, because when you're trying to get the value of this array without actually so I'd stay away. This is could be an example of dynamic memory allocation, but dynamic memory allocation is a whole different thing, and it has to do with pointers and the keywords new and delete. So we'll get into that in the next lesson, but you could theoretically say int days 5 equal 4 equals 10, and then I believe you'd get 10. Conflicting, just days 4 equals 10, though you don't redefine the did. So then you can specify an unsized array with an unsized table, but it won't initialize all of the elements of an array to 0. You're pretty much, I don't know, I'd stay away from this, because you should either have the size of an initializer, or you can leave this blank but make an initializer list, so say I wanted 53, 24, 3, 4, 3 and 4, and now if I only initialized 3, 4, so this is going to initialize days to 4 elements. So actually the 5th element will be random and it will not be pretty. Oh no, I initialized the 4th element of the days array to 10, but the 4th element actually doesn't exist because so that's kind of weird, this array, how they work actually, even though days 4 does not belong to this int days array, but you can still initialize it and it will still show up as the array index 4. So anyways, with me talking so much, let's try multi-dimensional array. What's the difference? A multi-dimensional array is just well, I didn't explain some of the uses of an array, sorry. Arrays can be used for data storage. They can be used for if you have a lot of elements of some type. You can have an array of classes. You can have an array of structures. You can have an array of anything pretty much, and an array of enumerations if you so desired. And we didn't get into any of those yet, but you can have an array of characters, an array of, by the way, an array of characters. That's interesting. So you can have character days or character name and say 80, and then you could have let's take this out for now and all of this, and you could say sorry, C in name and C out name. So that's let's see, what does it want? It wants a, oops, let's try this. So I declared a character array of 80, and I'm gonna say this is a way of holding strings actually. So a character array is like a C-style string. So here I'm performing the most basic input and output. So I'm taking C in name and then printing it back out again. I can also use the getLine method and getLine C in name, and it will give me the whole line of text. So let's see. Oh, you actually getLine only works with strings, which is really annoying. So you have to use this cin method on name. But you can use getLine on a string and then transfer it into main, as we're gonna into. But it doesn't matter how long you put the string as, but it's only gonna take the first 80 letters always, and this was less than 80 letters. So we can demonstrate that by putting 15 in here. And if you want to take the first 15 letters of an input, you have to you can specify a character array and put the length here. And actually, look at that. Right, so C in name 15. We should try that. Oops. Okay, now it should only take the first 15 elements. Ooh. What is that? That's some random thing. But so you could do that, and that's playing around with character arrays. So let's actually define let's make a multi-dimensional array. You remember again the postbox example? So say I wanted this kind of an array, an XY axis array. I can declare an array of integers and int chessboard, for example, because I play chess a lot and I love chess, and that's why I'm gonna make this example a chessboard. And actually I can copy and paste this over here, and let's see, I have 3x 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and I have this thing which I can just paste in here, and that, so that's our chessboard. If you know chess, this is an 8x8 square with 64